Emma wiped the flour from her hands as she finished her Saturday shift at Miller's Bakery. The sweet smell of fresh bread and pastries filled the air around her. She had been working there every weekend for 8 months now, carefully saving each pound she earned. At 17, most of her friends spent their money on clothes and makeup, but Emma had something more important in mind. Walking home through the quiet streets of their small English town, Emma felt the familiar weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She passed the playground where she used to push Lily on the swings when they were younger. Those carefree days seemed like a lifetime ago now. The front door of their modest house creaked as Emma entered. She could hear the television playing softly in the living room where her parents were watching the evening news. They looked tired as they always did these days. The past 2 years had aged them both. Emma climbed the narrow stairs to the bedroom she shared with her younger sister. Lily was sitting cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by colorful magazines about animals. Her thin fingers turned the pages slowly, stopping at pictures of puppies and kittens. Since the cancer treatment had ended 6 months ago, Lily's hair had started growing back. It was still short and wispy, nothing like the long blonde curls she used to have, but it was growing. The doctors called it remission, and that single word had given their whole family hope again. Emma sat down on the edge of Lily's bed, making the old mattress springs creak softly. The bedroom walls were covered with drawings Lily had made during her stays in the hospital. Most of them showed animals, dogs with wagging tails, cats curled up sleeping, horses running through fields. "How was work today?" Lily asked, looking up from a magazine article about becoming a veterinarian. "Good. Mrs. Miller let me practice decorating cupcakes again. I'm getting better at making the roses look real." Emma reached over and gently brushed a strand of Lily's new hair behind her ear. It felt soft and delicate like baby bird feathers. Lily's eyes lit up with excitement. "Only 3 weeks until my birthday. I can't believe I'll be 13 finally." Emma's heart swelled with love for her sister. After everything Lily had been through, she still got excited about simple things like birthdays and chocolate cake. The treatments had been so hard. There were days when Lily was too sick to eat, too weak to even sit up in bed. But she had fought through it all with a brave smile. "What kind of cake do you want this year?" Emma asked, even though she already knew the answer. "Chocolate," Lily said immediately, just like she had every year since she was 5. "The really rich kind with chocolate frosting. And can we have purple decorations everywhere? Purple balloons and purple streamers?" Emma nodded, mentally calculating how much money she had saved. It would be enough for everything Lily wanted and more. "Of course we can. And what about inviting your friends from school?" Lily's face became even brighter. "Really? All of them? Even the ones I haven't seen much since I got sick?" "Every single one of them," Emma promised. "We'll invite the whole class if you want." Through their bedroom window, Emma could see the neighborhood children playing football in the street. Their laughter carried on the evening breeze. She remembered when Lily used to run around with them, back before the diagnosis changed everything. Now Lily tired easily and couldn't play rough games, but she was alive and getting stronger every day. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep, Emma sat at their small desk with a notebook and pen. She made careful lists of everything they would need for the party. Decorations, invitations, games, music. She wanted every detail to be perfect. She called Miller's Bakery and spoke to Mrs. Miller about ordering a special chocolate cake. Mrs. Miller had always been kind to Emma, especially after learning about Lily's illness. She promised to make the most beautiful chocolate cake the bakery had ever created. Emma also started planning games that Lily could enjoy without getting too tired. Musical chairs might be too much, but they could do arts and crafts. Maybe face painting with purple butterflies and flowers. As she worked on her plans, Emma felt something she hadn't experienced in a very long time. Pure happiness mixed with hope for the future. For 2 years their family had lived day by day, never knowing what the next doctor's visit might bring. But now, with Lily in remission, they could finally make plans again. The local party shop would have everything they needed for decorations. Emma had already walked past it several times, looking at the purple balloons and streamers in the window. She pictured their small living room transformed into a magical purple wonderland. Emma fell asleep that night with her notebook still open beside her, filled with lists and ideas. She dreamed about Lily's smile when she would see the surprise party. She dreamed about laughter filling their house again, about normal teenage problems and happy endings. But life has a way of changing course when we least expect it. Emma had no way of knowing that time was more precious than she realized, and that some dreams have to be changed before they can come true. Emma was sitting in the school library during her free period, working on her history essay about World War II. The afternoon sun streamed through the tall windows, making dust particles dance in the air. She was writing about how families stayed strong during difficult times when she heard footsteps approaching her table. Emma Thompson? The headmaster's voice was gentle but serious. Emma looked up from her notebook. Mr. Davies rarely came to the library, and he never sought out individual students unless something was wrong. His face wore the same expression she had seen on doctors' faces too many times before. Yes, sir? Emma's pencil stopped moving across the page. I need you to gather your things, dear. Your parents have asked me to send you to the hospital immediately. They're waiting for you there. The words hit Emma like cold water. Her hands started shaking as she stuffed her books into her backpack. The other students in the library looked up curiously, but Emma barely noticed them. Her mind was already racing ahead, imagining the worst possible scenarios. The walk to the bus stop felt like it took forever. Emma's legs felt heavy and unsteady. She had left Lily at home that morning, sitting at the kitchen table eating toast and reading one of her animal magazines. Lily had seemed fine, maybe a little tired, but fine. The bus journey into town was torture. Emma pressed her face against the cold window and watched the familiar streets blur past. She tried to tell herself that maybe it was just a routine checkup, maybe the doctors wanted to run some extra tests. But deep in her heart, she knew this was different. Sisters have a special connection that others don't understand. Emma had always been able to sense when Lily was in pain, even when her little sister tried to hide it. Over the past few days, Emma had noticed small things. Lily sleeping more than usual. Lily pushing her food around her plate instead of eating. Lily sitting down to rest after walking up the stairs. The hospital smelled exactly the same as it had during Lily's treatment 2 years ago. That mixture of cleaning products and medicine that Emma would never forget. Her footsteps echoed on the polished floors as she hurried toward the children's ward. Emma found her parents standing in the corridor outside room 14. Her mother was leaning against the wall, tissues clutched in her hand. Her father had his arm around her mother's shoulders, but his own face looked pale and drawn. When they saw Emma approaching, they both straightened up and tried to compose themselves. What happened? Emma asked immediately. Her mother's voice was barely a whisper. Lily collapsed at school during lunchtime. The teachers called an ambulance. The doctors ran tests and... Her voice broke completely. Her father cleared his throat and continued. The cancer has returned, Emma. It's more aggressive than before. The doctors are starting treatment right away, but they said we need to prepare ourselves. Emma felt the world tilt sideways. The corridor seemed to spin around her. She had to lean against the wall to steady herself. After 6 months of normal life, 6 months of planning birthday parties and dreaming about the future, the nightmare was starting all over again. Without saying another word, Emma pushed past her parents and opened the door to Lily's room. The sight that greeted her was heartbreaking. Lily looked so tiny in the big hospital bed, almost lost among the white sheets and pillows. Machines beeped softly around her, and tubes ran from her arms to bags of clear liquid hanging on metal poles. But when Lily saw Emma enter the room, her face lit up with that familiar smile that had gotten them both through so much darkness before. Hey, big sister, Lily said, her voice weak but still warm with love. Emma sat down in the plastic chair beside the bed and took Lily's hand in both of hers. Lily's skin felt cold and papery, not like the strong hands that had helped Emma bake cookies just last weekend. How are you feeling? Emma asked, trying to keep her own voice steady. Really tired, Lily admitted. The doctors gave me some medicine that makes me sleepy. But I'm so glad you're here now. Lily's fingers squeezed Emma's hand with what little strength she had left. Even though she was only 12 years old, Lily had already learned how to be brave in ways that most adults never have to learn. Emma, Lily said quietly, are we still going to have my birthday party? I know I'm back in the hospital, but I was really looking forward to seeing everyone. Emma felt her heart break into a million pieces, but she forced herself to smile. Of course we're still having your party. Nothing in this world is going to stop us from celebrating your 13th birthday. Over the following days, Emma spent every moment she could at the hospital. She watched Lily grow weaker as the aggressive treatment began. The birthday party that had seemed so simple to plan now felt impossible. How could they celebrate when Lily could barely stay awake? But then Emma remembered something her grandmother had told her years ago, back when Emma was worried about a school test. Love always finds a way, sweetheart. When hope seems completely lost, love opens doors that we never knew existed. Emma's world had shrunk to the size of room 14 in the children's ward. Every day after school she would catch the bus straight to the hospital, her backpack heavy with textbooks and homework she barely touched. The plastic chair beside Lily's bed had become her second home. She brought everything she could think of to make the long hospital hours pass more easily. Her English literature book, stories she had written in primary school, photo albums from their family holidays. Sometimes she would read aloud from Lily's favorite animal magazines, describing the pictures when Lily was too tired to keep her eyes open. The doctors and nurses had become familiar faces. Sister Margaret, the head nurse, always asked about Emma's schoolwork. Dr. Williams would nod politely when he saw Emma during his evening rounds. They all understood that Emma needed to be there, that sitting by Lily's side was the only place she could find any peace. On this particular evening, the hospital was quieter than usual. The sun was setting outside the window, painting the white walls with soft orange and pink light. Lily had been sleeping for most of the day, her breathing shallow but steady. Emma was working on her mathematics homework, trying to solve equations that seemed pointless compared to everything else happening in her life. Suddenly Lily's eyes opened. They were clearer and more focused than they had been in days. She turned her head slowly toward Emma, and for a moment she looked just like the little sister Emma remembered from before all the treatments and hospital stays. "Emma," Lily said, her voice stronger than it had been all week. Emma immediately put down her pencil and leaned closer to the bed. "I'm here, Lily. How are you feeling?" "Better right now. The medicine isn't making me as foggy today." Lily tried to sit up a little, wincing with the effort. Emma helped her adjust the pillows behind her back. They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes, watching the sunset through the window. Emma could hear the distant sounds of the hospital, footsteps in the corridor, the quiet beeping of machines, voices from the nurses stationed down the hall. Then Lily spoke again, and her words surprised Emma completely. "I still want my birthday party." Emma felt her stomach drop. They had not talked about the party since Lily had been readmitted to the hospital. It seemed impossible now, with Lily connected to machines and too weak to even walk to the bathroom by herself. "Lily, you're too sick right now. Maybe when you get better, when you can come home again?" "Not for me," Lily interrupted, and there was something in her voice that made Emma stop talking completely. "For everyone else. I want to see everyone happy one more time. I want them to remember good things about me, not just me being sick." Emma felt tears starting to form in her eyes, but she blinked them away quickly. Lily needed her to be strong right now. "What do you mean?" Emma asked gently. Lily turned to look directly at Emma, and her eyes held a wisdom that seemed too old for someone who was still 12 years old. "I know I'm really sick this time, Emma. I can feel it. I'm not scared, but I want to do something happy while I still can. Promise me you'll have the party. Even if I can't eat the cake or blow out the candles properly. I want to see all my friends one more time. I want to laugh with them and hear about what they're doing at school." Emma reached over and squeezed Lily's hand as gently as she could. Her sister's fingers felt like thin twigs, but they still held onto Emma's hand with determination. "I promise," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. "I promise we'll have your party." The next morning, Emma woke up with a new sense of purpose. If Lily wanted a party, then Lily would have the most amazing birthday celebration the hospital had ever seen. Emma started making phone calls before she even got dressed for school. She called Lily's best friend Sarah first, then worked her way through the entire class list. She explained the situation to each parent who answered the phone. Some of them cried when they heard about Lily's condition, but every single one of them said their child would be there for the party. Emma called Lily's teachers at school. Mrs. Peterson, who had taught Lily's art class, offered to bring supplies so the children could make a special birthday banner. Mr. Cook, the sports teacher, said he would organize some gentle games that could be played sitting down. The hardest call was to Miller's Bakery. Emma explained to Mrs. Miller that the party would now be at the hospital instead of at home. Without hesitation, Mrs. Miller said she would donate the chocolate cake and deliver it personally to the children's ward. When Emma arrived at the hospital that afternoon, she found Sister Margaret waiting for her with a smile. "I heard about Lily's party," the nurse said. "The staff would like to help decorate the family room. We think it's a wonderful idea." As Emma walked toward Lily's room, she felt something unexpected growing in her chest. It was still mixed with sadness and fear, but there was definitely joy there too. This wasn't the birthday party she had originally planned, but somehow it was becoming something even more special. Emma arrived at the hospital 2 hours before the party was supposed to start. She carried 3 large bags filled with purple decorations and a smaller bag containing the special gift she had been working on in secret. Her hands were shaking slightly, not from the weight of the bags, but from nervous excitement mixed with deep sadness. The hospital family room was normally a plain, quiet space where patients' relatives could sit and rest. It had beige walls, simple chairs arranged in a circle, and one small table by the window. But today it was going to become something magical. Sister Margaret met Emma at the door with a warm smile. "The other nurses and I cleared our schedules to help," she said. "We've been looking forward to this party almost as much as Lily has." Emma opened the first bag and pulled out rolls of purple streamers. She had bought twice as many as she originally planned, wanting to make sure every inch of the room looked festive. Sister Margaret climbed on a chair to hang the streamers from the ceiling while Emma blew up purple balloons until her cheeks hurt. Dr. Williams stopped by to help arrange the chairs in a better circle around the table. "Lily is such a special girl," he said quietly to Emma. "In 30 years of working here, I've never met a patient who cares so much about other people's feelings, even when she's the one who's suffering." Mrs. Miller arrived carrying the most beautiful chocolate cake Emma had ever seen. It was 3 layers tall, covered in rich chocolate frosting, with delicate purple flowers made from sugar decorating the sides. On top, in elegant purple letters, it said, "Happy 13th birthday, Lily." "This one is special," Mrs. Miller said, wiping tears from her eyes. "I stayed up all night making those sugar flowers perfect." Emma's classmates began arriving with their parents at exactly 2 o'clock. Many of them were carrying handmade cards and small gifts wrapped in purple paper. Some of the children looked nervous, having never been in a hospital before, but their parents had prepared them well for what to expect. Mrs. Peterson, Lily's art teacher, brought a large banner that the entire class had worked on together. It was covered with drawings of animals, purple hearts, and messages like, "We love you, Lily," and "Happy birthday to our friend." They hung it across one wall where Lily would be sure to see it immediately. At exactly 2:30, Emma went to get Lily from her room. She found her sister sitting up in bed, wearing the new purple pajamas Emma had bought for the occasion. Lily looked thin and pale, but her eyes were bright with anticipation. "Are you ready for your party?" Emma asked, helping Lily into the wheelchair that would take her to the family room. "I've been ready all week," Lily said with a smile. Emma wrapped the soft purple blanket around Lily's shoulders, making sure she would be warm and comfortable during the celebration. As they approached the family room, Emma could hear the excited chatter of children and adults waiting inside. She paused for a moment before opening the door, wanting this moment to be perfect for Lily. "Surprise!" everyone called out softly as Emma wheeled Lily into the room. They had remembered that this was still a hospital, so they kept their voices gentle and warm rather than loud and overwhelming. Lily's face lit up with the most radiant smile Emma had seen in weeks. Her eyes traveled around the room, taking in the purple decorations, the beautiful cake, the banner made by her classmates, and most importantly, all the people who had come to celebrate with her. For the next 2 hours, the family room was filled with the kind of gentle joy that comes from people who truly care about each other. Lily's school friends sat in a circle around her wheelchair, sharing stories about funny things that had happened in class. They told her about the new hamster in their classroom and about the school play they were preparing for next month. Mrs. Peterson talked about how Lily always helped other students with their art projects, never caring about winning prizes for herself. Mr. Cook shared stories about how Lily cheered for everyone during sports activities, even when she couldn't participate herself. The hospital staff joined in too. Sister Margaret joked about how Lily always remembered to ask about her children and her garden, even on days when Lily felt terrible. Dr. Williams mentioned that Lily was the only patient he knew who thanked him for giving her injections. When it came time to open presents, Emma saved her special gift for last. She had been working on it for 3 weeks, staying up late every night after her hospital visits. It was a scrapbook, bound in purple leather, filled with photographs and memories from their entire lives together. Every page told a story. There were pictures from their family holidays to the seaside, where they had built sandcastles and collected shells. Photos from Christmas mornings, birthday parties from previous years, quiet afternoons reading books together in their bedroom. Emma had written small notes beside each picture, describing what they had been doing and how they had felt that day. There were ticket stubs from movies they had seen together, pressed flowers from walks in the countryside, and drawings Lily had made during her first stay in the hospital. "This is so we never forget any of our time together," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion as she placed the scrapbook in Lily's lap. Lily hugged the book against her chest and closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, they were filled with tears of joy. "Thank you, Emma. This is the best birthday I've ever had." Emma stood at the entrance of the hospital family room, watching people fill the chairs that had been arranged in neat rows. It was exactly 1 year since Lily's birthday party, But today the room looked completely different. Instead of purple streamers and balloons, there were professional banners and information tables. Instead of 12-year-old children, there were families from all over the county. At 18, Emma felt much older than her years. The past 12 months had changed her in ways she was still discovering. She had finished her final year of school while carrying the weight of grief that sometimes made it hard to breathe. But she had also learned something important. Sadness and love could live side by side in the same heart. The idea for the fundraiser had come to Emma during one of her many sleepless nights. She kept thinking about all the other families who were going through what her family had experienced. She remembered the worried parents she had seen in hospital corridors, the children who looked scared and confused, the brothers and sisters who didn't know how to help. Emma had spent months planning this event. She contacted local businesses, wrote letters to newspapers, and spoke to anyone who would listen about childhood cancer research. The response had been overwhelming. The local supermarket donated refreshments. The radio station agreed to announce the event for free. Even people who had never met Lily wanted to help. Mrs. Miller from the bakery had arrived early that morning with trays of sandwiches and cakes. She hugged Emma tightly when she saw her. "Lily would be so proud of what you're doing," she said, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Sister Margaret and Dr. Williams were there too, along with many of the nurses who had cared for Lily during her final weeks. They had helped Emma organize the medical information tables and arranged for speakers to talk about current research developments. As Emma looked around the room, she saw faces that told stories similar to her own. There was a mother holding a toddler who had lost all his hair from treatment. A teenage boy sat in a wheelchair, his father's hand resting protectively on his shoulder. Two little girls colored quietly at a corner table while their parents spoke in hushed voices with one of the doctors. When it was time for Emma to speak, she walked to the front of the room carrying a framed photograph of Lily. In the picture, Lily was laughing while hugging a stuffed elephant they had won at a fair 2 summers ago. It was Emma's favorite picture because it showed Lily exactly as she had been, full of joy and love for life. Emma cleared her throat and looked out at the gathered crowd. Public speaking had never been easy for her, but today the words came naturally. "My sister Lily was 12 years old when she died from leukemia. But in her short life, she taught me more about courage and love than I learned in all my other years combined." Emma paused, looking down at Lily's photograph. "Lily taught me that life isn't about how much time we have. It's about how much love we can give in whatever time we're given. She showed kindness to everyone she met, even when she was in pain. She worried more about other people's feelings than her own comfort." The room was completely quiet except for the soft sound of people reaching for tissues. Emma continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. "Today we're here to honor Lily's memory by helping other children and families who are fighting this disease. The money we raise will go toward research for better treatments and toward supporting families who can't afford to take time off work to be with their sick children." Over the next 3 hours, the fundraiser raised more money than Emma had dared to hope for. People bought raffle tickets, made donations, and signed up to volunteer for future events. A local journalist took photographs and promised to write a story for the newspaper. Emma had also made another important decision during the past year. She had applied to study medicine at university. The doctors and nurses who had cared for Lily had shown her what it meant to dedicate your life to helping others. She wanted to be part of finding better treatments, maybe even a cure for childhood cancer. As the evening drew to a close, Emma led the group outside to the hospital car park. She carried a bag filled with purple balloons, just like the ones that had decorated Lily's birthday party a year ago. Each family was given several balloons to release in memory of the children they had loved and lost, or in hope for the children who were still fighting. Emma untied her own balloons and held them for a moment, feeling the gentle tug as they tried to float upward. She closed her eyes and made a silent promise to Lily. She would continue this work for as long as she was able. She would make sure that Lily's spirit lived on through acts of kindness and hope. "This is for you, Lily," Emma whispered and let go of the strings. The purple balloons rose into the twilight sky, joined by dozens of others in different colors. Emma watched them grow smaller and smaller until they disappeared completely among the early stars. For the first time since Lily's death, Emma felt something she had almost forgotten: peace. Not the absence of sadness but the presence of purpose. Lily had never made it to another birthday, but her spirit was celebrating tonight in every family that had been helped, every dollar raised for research, every moment of hope shared in her memory. Standing there under the stars, Emma understood that love doesn't end when someone dies. It transforms into something bigger and more powerful, something that can touch countless lives and create changes that last forever.